So Donald Trump is continuing to panic over RFK Jr. because he's so afraid that Jr. is going to pull away some of his voters. But let's be realistic for a minute. The only people left in MAGA is the crazies. And I say that because all the reasonable people left a long time ago. And he's not doing anything to appeal to independents and moderates. So it's the hardcore Donald Trump supporters that are left. The ones that buys into all the conspiracy theories, all the rhetoric, the ones that he can continue to force to jump through the hoops of his mental gymnastics games, and they will go right with him. But they're starting to kind of steer away from him because RFK Jr. is a little bit crazier. And they like crazy, and they're leaning toward that. And when they hear RFK Jr. saying things, demonizing the vaccine, they love him because they still have a bone to pick over Donald Trump because he loves to take credit for the vaccine. But take a look at this video Trump released where he's telling the supporters, don't listen to RFK Jr. He's not really an anti-vaxxer. And what's funny is he doesn't even see the irony of this. Take a look.
So Republicans, get it out of your mind that you're going to vote for this guy because he's conservative. He's not. And by the way, he said the other night that vaccines are fine. He said it on a show, a television show, that vaccines are fine. He's all for them. And that's what he said. And for those of you that want to vote because you think he's an anti-vaxxer, he's not really an anti-vaxxer. That's only his political moment. So RFK's views on vaccines are fake, as is everything else about his candidacy.
Now, let's say that you hadn't been following Donald Trump and you hadn't been keeping up with all the things that are going on in the world, and you just happened to stumble across that clip. By the sounds of it, it sounds like Donald Trump himself is an anti-vaxxer because he's trying to tell his followers, hey, don't vote for this guy because you think he's anti-vax. He's really not. He's really for the vaccine. So it sounds to me, just from that clip, it comes off like that Trump is the anti-vaxxer trying to tell you that this guy over here is just pretending on taking the stance that he takes. But that's why I said at the start of this video, irony is completely lost on Donald Trump because here's what he's had to say about the vaccine, and here's why a lot of his followers are starting to pull away from him.
In a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it.
It shows you how unpainful that vaccine shot is, so everybody go get your shot.
It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well, and I would recommend it to a lot of people that don't want to get it, and a lot of those people voted for me, frankly. But, it's a great vaccine, it's a safe vaccine, and it's something that works.
I recommend you take it, but I also believe in your freedoms 100%.
When you have the vaccine, people that do, and it's a very small number relatively, but people that do get it get better much quicker.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. You're playing right into their hands when you sort of like, oh, the vaccine. If you don't want to take it, you shouldn't be forced to take it. No mandates. But take credit because we saved tens of millions of lives. Take credit. Don't let them take that away from you.
Both the president and I are vaxxed, and did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
Don't.
So he's the father of the vaccine. It's safe. It's effective. He would recommend it to people who don't want to take it. But if you don't want to take it, you have your freedoms. But go ahead and take credit for it because you saved millions of lives. Do you see now what I mean when I say mental gymnastics? How in the world do these people continue to jump through those hoops for him? I will never understand it. But he's backed himself in a corner because if you'll notice at the end of the clip, people are starting to boo him. And he's like, oh, no, don't boo. Do what you want to do. But he realizes he's backed in the corner because he wants to take credit for it, and he can't and keep his base happy because they're very upset with him about the comments he's made about the vaccine. Now, just imagine that you appeal to that kind of audience. I would have a real big problem with appealing to that type of audience and knowing that I was playing in to spreading misinformation and spreading bullshit and costing people their lives. At the end of the day, there are a whole lot of people in this country that lost their lives because they bought into all the conspiracy theories that were out there, and they bought into that mindset. They refused to take the vaccine when a lot of them needed it, and it's so sad that they got so caught up in that. And what's even worse is you got a guy here that is trying to appease the people who caused all the misinformation. He's trying to appease the people and yet take credit for it at the same time. It's something that's hard to follow and hard to understand because, again, he backed himself into a corner, and he's realizing it now because this is what his conservative base, if you want to call him that, it's not really fair to call him conservative, but his MAGA base, this is what his MAGA base is saying about RFK Jr., and I think old Donnie's starting to catch wind of it. Take a look at this.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
They like where you stand on vaccines, men playing in women's sports, immigration.
Bobby Kennedy himself is not extreme. He is deeply insightful. And above all, he is honest, no matter what you think of the substance of what he says.
He makes a lot of sense. In fact, he sounds a lot like Donald Trump.
He talks about going after the administrative and deep state in a very significant way, led by the pharmaceutical industry. If we put together a unity ticket of Trump and Kennedy, it would be insurmountable.
He's a man of integrity that fights fluoride and poison shots and fentanyl and everything else. He's a good man.
Donald Trump has said he's a good man. He's got some very good ideas.
He's a very smart guy and a good guy. He said Trump's the greatest debater. He's a very good man, and his heart is in the right place.
I would support him over most rhino Republicans. So
You could call them hard right MAGA types. You're more excited about a Democrat running for the presidency than two Republican senators.
Bobby Kennedy would be, I think, be an excellent choice for President Trump to consider. It was a standing ovation. I think people, and this was a very hardcore MAGA war room posse crowd.
Bobby Kennedy is one of the most remarkable people we have ever met.
So in that clip was Tucker Carlson saying that RFK Jr. is not extreme. So I'll be curious to see what he says in the coming weeks, because we'll see if he's going to jump through the hoop and go with Donald Trump and now start to call him the radical left. But there he was saying how that he wasn't too extreme. There they were saying that he reminds them a whole lot of Donald Trump. There they were saying he would make a great running mate for Donald Trump. And there was Donald Trump himself back when he didn't realize that RFK Jr. posed a threat to him. There he was himself saying he's a good man. And did you notice why he said he was a good man? Because, he said, I'm the greatest debater of all time. So that's why he liked him then. Now that he realizes, hey, he could be taking some votes away from me, now he's starting to run scared. Now he's starting to panic. And now he's went so far now to make videos pretty much pleading with his followers to not go after RFK Jr. But what's so funny about this is my favorite part. I saved the best for last. He actually said out loud that he would take Joe Biden over RFK Jr. Take a look at this one.
I'd even take Biden over Jr. because our country would last about a year or two longer than it would with Jr. It would collapse almost immediately, and his family, a radical left, a crazy left, a bunch of lunatics, would take over, and our country will die very quickly. So RFK's views on vaccines are fake, as is everything else about his candidacy. He is not a Republican, so don't think you're going to vote for him and feel good. He's a radical left Democrat. Let the Democrats have RFK Jr. They deserve him.
So anytime Donald Trump says the name Joe Biden, whether he's texting it on Truth Social or whether he's saying it out loud in interviews, he always starts off by saying crooked Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden. He follows it up by saying the worst president in history, the most corrupt president, the Biden crime family. And now he's saying that he would take Joe Biden over RFK Jr. Now, if I was sitting around talking with Trump supporters, what I would say to them is this. You're looking over here and you're seeing a third option. You're seeing someone besides Biden and Trump, and you don't want 4 more years of Joe Biden. So you're looking at Trump, you're looking at RFK Jr., and you're kind of starting to lean toward RFK Jr. because you think that, he aligns with your views on vaccines and other things, and you think he might be a better alternative to Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is telling you to not pick him, but to pick the guy who you think is the cause of all your problems. So he's basically insulting your intelligence, which he's been doing this entire time, by the way, but he's going over the top here insulting your intelligence because what he's saying is that you're not capable of picking anyone but him. He's the only one that's capable of picking someone to win. And that's what I would love to say to all of MAGA. What's going to happen once Donald Trump is out of the political theater? What's going to happen when he can no longer run for president and he's done and his career's over? Who's going to win for MAGA? Who's going to step up and lead? Who's going to step up and win? Because everybody that's attempted to has failed miserably. So if you're going to look at the long haul and you're going to say, well, we have to get rid of Joe Biden. Now you've got this option over here that you're leaning toward, but he's telling you you can't because at the end of the day, he's telling you that you're too stupid. That's basically what he's doing. not only is he playing his audience, he's talking down to them. And he does it all the time, even going back to when he said, I love the poorly educated. He's always talked down to his crowd, and they didn't even realize it. But no, RFK Jr. appeals to the extremists because he has extreme views. RFK Jr.'s entire family has said they don't support him. They're supporting President Biden. I've not met a progressive or a liberal-minded person yet who has said, oh, yeah, I'm leaning toward RFK Jr. We all see through him for what he is. He's not a plant. He's none of those things. If anything, when I first saw him, I thought he was just a plant to screw up Joe Biden. That's what I feel like he is. Because no Democrat, no progressive, no liberal, whatever you want to call us on the left side of the aisle, none of us are out there getting excited about that because we realize what's at stake. And I wouldn't even, listen, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I like Gavin Newsom, but I wouldn't want to see Gavin Newsom running third party right now because I want to see Joe Biden win so that we can keep democracy in place and we can live to vote another day. So no, any reasonable person doesn't want RFK Jr. in this race at all. And for the ones who are sitting back entertaining it, they're either A, the conspiracy theory-minded people that Donald Trump's scared is going to lose, or B, they're just people that's not been paying attention at all. I mean, that's all I can figure.